Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is AES and welcome to my YouTube channel. Back in the early 2000s, sports games were praised as fun experiences that, at the time, gave you the opportunity to put yourselves in the shoes of real athletes in a digital environment. As time has gone by, the reputation of the genre has slowly and gradually decreased, following the rise of a trend called microtransactions. It came to a full switch of mood from the consumer base in the late 2010s, particularly with Madden NFL 20 and 21, where gamers were fed up with EA's decision to monetize the entire experience. In fact, Madden NFL 21 is the most poorly reviewed title on Metacritic of all time. As the year of 2021 progressed, the publishers were holding their cards close to their chest about this year's iteration of the sport that requires athletes to wear pads and tackle each other. It did not even appear in EA's presentation a few months ago. Sooner rather than later though, they would reveal their yearly contender, and sure enough, it was released recently in the form of Madden NFL 22. When it comes to sports titles, it is very hard to improve on a formula that works. In the case of Madden, there are a lot of features and modes that the company behind the franchise took out from older iterations in an attempt to reintroduce them later as new options. While the EA press conference hinted at a change of heart and mindset, this year's football video game goes to show that, as far as their lineup that caters to the popularity of athletes is concerned, EA is the same company that solely focuses on money. What are my thoughts on today's game? Time to find out. Without further ado, let's review Madden NFL 22, which was released this year and, for the purpose of transparency, was played on the PlayStation 5. Story. The mode in Madden NFL 22 where you experience any type of a narrative is called Face of the Franchise, where you create a player, choose a college, and proceed to advance from being in school to playing in the major leagues. There is nothing special about the plot, as it is the cliched tale that you have seen time and time again if you checked out movies such as The Blind Side. It is serviceable, but it does not do anything to connect you with the creative player. It was done in Madden NFL 21 with a few interesting characters, not so much here. Visuals and audio design. Although Madden NFL 22 has technical issues that we will discuss soon, the title's presentation is certainly its highlight. Visually, I was quite impressed. The character models look spot on across the board, the animations are slick and smooth, and the stadiums earned 2 thumbs up from me. The people in the crowd are slightly better than last year, but they are still outdated compared to the folks on the field. In terms of audio, I do not have any complaints. Music is the typical rap-heavy tunes you will hear in almost every sports-based title. The commentary during the games is fantastic, and I really liked it when the crowd started to engage themselves in what was happening at the respective events. Overall, Madden NFL 22 succeeds in the presentation department with flying colors. Gameplay. I won't go over every gameplay mechanic as it will require me to explain the basics of the sport, and this video will be 8 hours long. If you have ever played a Madden game or football in general, you will be comfortable with the building blocks of Madden NFL 22. What I will do, however, is cover the modes that are included in the game. You have your traditional exhibition matches, including custom games, pro face-offs, and online play. The cool part about them is how the title updates every week with matchups that are happening in real life, letting you keep tabs on who is playing who. Outside of regular games, you have Ultimate Team, where you create a team, level them up, and try to take down other players' teams. Franchise, where you act as the general manager for a given team. Championship Series, which is self-explanatory. Superstar KO, where you have to score as many points as possible with different restrictions. The Yard, an online mode where you take control of individual positions. And Face of the Franchise, which is the game's story mode. They are the same modes as last year's Madden NFL 21, which is disappointing. You would expect new iterations of a franchise to bring fresh aspects to the table. Some of them make it here, but in a minor way. The Face of the Franchise experience now implements role-playing leveling up system and classes, and it does a great job of showing progression as you complete the chapters. Regular games allow you to choose an offensive and defensive focus. An example of each would allow your team to go for inside runs, or keep your eye on your opponent's attempts to nail deep passes. There's plenty of content to dabble with, but my level of immersion takes a hit when it's game time because of bugs and glitches. In my very first game, there was an issue with the camera. For some reason, I would finish a play and the camera refused to follow the players. It will stick to an area on the field and never move until I choose the next strategic action. It ruined the halftime report, and I could not figure out the referee's decisions when he threw a flag on the field. I wanted to see if it was a rare technical hiccup, so I tried to go to the main menu after the game was over. However, the loading screens were stuck in a loop, and I was forced to restart the game. I did not experience any of these issues in previous Madden games, which is a shame because Madden NFL 22 does fix my pet peeve about inconsistent frame rate in its last year's counterpart. The core of what Madden NFL 22 has to offer is substantial and meaty, but the lack of any major improvement and the inclusion of situations that can take you out of the experience will make it really hard for me next year to trust EA with another yearly football purchase. Fun factor: I'm going to be honest with you all. The only time I play a Madden game nowadays is with my dad, and it is always fun when it happens. Madden NFL 22 could have been the best football title in existence, and I would not play it consistently because I prefer to play with my pop instead of competing against computerized opponents. Nevertheless, I would have enjoyed my time with the latest entry in the series had it not been for the technical issues. It could be a console-specific problem, but it is why I will most likely resort to staying put with Madden NFL 21 when I visit my parents and I decide to go head-to-head with my father in a video game. Impressions of PlayStation trophies. I will give you my 2 cents in just a moment, but I found out from different content creators and folks on social media that the structure of PlayStation trophies in the last 3 or so Madden NFL games has remained the same. I thought there was an interesting piece of information to share with you. Anyways, let's continue. The list of objectives in Madden NFL 22 appears to be a checklist that will allow you to experience everything the title has in store for the consumers. They are very specific, ranging from completing a fantasy draft, utilize the new juke and spin move to score a touchdown, and win a head-to-head game in an online league. If you enjoyed the way in which the game operates in each of its modes, I believe that you can absolutely earn the Platinum Trophy in no time. When should you pick it up? Unless you are a massive fan of the sport, I would not waste your time on Madden NFL 22, nor would I waste my breath on the last 3 or so games surrounding the pastime of playing football. If I were you, I would spend some cash on a PlayStation 2 and purchase one of the Madden titles from 15 or so years ago. The rosters will be outdated, sure, but the gameplay is much more rewarding and satisfying than anything that EA Sports has dished out in the last decade or so. In the end, Madden NFL 22 is further proof that EA Sports-based licenses, such as Madden and FIFA, are doomed to fail when it comes to the quality of their gameplay. I know that I sound gloomy, but it does not seem like EA is learning from their mistakes. The recent release is not a complete disappointment. Some of the modes receive quality of life improvements. The frame rate during the games is a consistent and smooth 60 frames per second, and the visuals are nice for the most part. But the lack of any new modes, the bugs and the glitches ruin what could have been at least a better football title than last year's contender. I only bought this title on FIFA 22 because I plan to do a comparison video between the sports catalog of offerings in the last 3 or 4 years. Otherwise, I would not have a reason to be a part of the problem and give EA more of my money. I will give Madden NFL 22 from 2021 a 6.3 out of 10. Well folks, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for checking it out. What are your thoughts on Madden NFL 22? Do you feel like the franchise has become stagnant? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Till next time, have a great day or evening wherever you are. My name is AES, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.